Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board to order. Among the first items, the posted agenda has been changed to one. The presentation by Rhinebeck Villas LLC has been continued to another night. They were not prepared to present tonight, so they will not be presenting tonight. And to my knowledge, everything else stands as written in the agenda. I think when we get down there. And has everyone had a chance to review the January 6th minutes? Can I have a motion to approve? Second? All in favor? Very good. All right. Let's see. I have a note here from Gretchen to schedule the Mansour public hearing for March 2nd of 2020 at 6:35. That's coming back to us. Could I have a motion to do so? Second? All in favor? Very good. Could I have a motion to accept Jim's meeting notes? All in favor? Excellent. Okay. The first public hearing is in 3 minutes. So I think we have two referrals from the ZBA. I haven't, for some reason, has anyone seen the Brookmead sign, proposed sign? How's it look? Okay. Oh, we have a copy here, okay. For some reason, I haven't seen it.
The necessary evidence.
And it's listing the 4 different divisions of the facility.
The typeface, the whole thing, I don't think is very handsome, but you can't read whatever it is, white on black.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any information here about whether or not it actually meets the size dimension requirements?
I don't believe it does. They have a number of items in the memo. I don't believe that it meets the sign standards for size. I don't think it can be replaced in kind based on the new standards because it's in a residential zoning district, so the standards for signs in the residential zoning district are pretty strict compared to what they be elsewhere. It appears the height's okay. Square face, or so the square footage of the face is 13.75 square feet, I believe. They're only allowed 8 square feet based on the code. So they need to make it, it's 13.75 per side. So they're actually proposing 27.5 square feet. They're only allowed 8 based on my read of the code. So there's an issue there we'll have to look at. And we'll probably talk to Michelle. Then there are, considerations related to design standards. We do have sign design standards and making sure that it's in keeping with the character of the area. So that's something that can be discussed. Monument sign standards actually specifically talk about using white to light color copy on black and dark background in the design standards. This is kind of the opposite. So there's some design elements and certainly the sign size that I think needs to be looked at. I can talk to Michelle about. But I think there are some issues that need to be viewed before it can be further discussed by the planning board. I'm not sure.
I think maybe the thing to do is get a motion to refer this back to the zoning enforcement officer to review it with basic compliance with the basic standards.
I'll send out my comments and thoughts to have her confirm.
Good. Motion to that? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good, thank you. Ooh, and we're ready for our first public hearing. That worked well. Dan Davidovich, 6822 Route 9 site plan and sign permit renovation of existing structure.
I guess we'll just start with site plan. Maybe the next one. A little more, actually. The second is better job. Clearer to me, but I guess you guys can do that, right?
Zoom in more. Otherwise, zoom in clearer, yes.
I don't really need the tax itself as long as I don't see it. Good evening, I'm Darren Davidovich here on behalf, with the Art of Building, but I'm here on behalf of 6822 Route 9 LLC tonight. And the reason I'm here is because we are proposing to convert the subject parcel, a 2.36 acre parcel located on Route 9, to a professional office. It's currently designated as an accessory to an oil terminal. The former use of this site was the Costco oil facility, and the building that we're talking about, right here, the 990 square foot building, was, for all intents and purposes, used as professional office space, but it was really a dispatch office or a terminal office. So we require a change in use in order to occupy it as a professional office. The intent is to occupy the building with our company, which is a design build company. And just to orient you a little bit, this is located just one south of Pet Country and just sort of at an angle across from Phantom Gardner, directly across from the Monroe Muffler building on Route 9. And then there's a billboard just to the south of us here. As I mentioned, the site's 2.36 acres in size, formerly used as an oil terminal. At one point, there was some surface level contamination of the soils on the site, which were cleaned up before we purchased the property. At the current time, the only thing we are proposing is to occupy the existing building. At our last meeting, I had talked about, in the meeting before that, adding an addition to that building. Since the planning board site visit, we decided to remove that completely from the application. So there's no longer an intent to add an additional 660 square feet to the building. We are also proposing a sign here, which would be a location sign to show you who occupies the building. We got some recent guidance, an initial interpretation that changed a little bit on us, which actually shrunk the size of that sign. So at one point, we had been proposing 2 signs for that location. We basically just dropped the second sign from the proposal so that we can be in compliance with what we now understand to be a 15 square foot limitation on the sign, and that applies to the combination of both sides of that sign. I'm sorry, 16 square foot were allowed. We're just going to keep it to 15 square foot to make it easy. So we'll have 7.5 square feet on either side of that sign, both identical. We are currently before the ZBA. We hope to have a resolution this month for a variance because the location of that sign, what feels like the obvious location for a business sign right in front of the building, actually does not meet the required 20-foot setback. That's an issue that we have because this existing building itself does not meet the required 20-foot setback. So in order to have the sign in front of the building, we needed some variance relief to allow it to be there. And because the guidance on the size of the sign that's allowed came a little bit late in the process, we elected not to seek a variance for that. We're just going to go with a smaller sign in this location. Just to address a few questions that have come up, the location of the sign in that spot does provide in excess of 1,500 feet of visibility out of either driveway. So it's not something that causes a safety issue, at least one that we can pinpoint. Another significant change since our last meeting is that we've greatly scaled back the amount of impervious surface on the site. We are now talking about removing just shy of a ½ acre of asphalt that exists today on the site. Our last proposal had this hatched area shown as gravel, and we've elected, since the site meeting by the planning board, to just revegetate that with grass. There wasn't really a need for the gravel. It was just something that we were trying to keep in there as a placeholder because there is the intent to, at some point in the future, develop additional portions of the site. You know, it's close to 2.5 acres. It's a fairly valuable piece of real estate located on Route 9. So we were trying to preserve as much optionality for the future as possible, but we can come back and talk about that when we have that more clearly figured out. There is some landscaping proposed that isn't currently here today in the form of a row of river birch trees, which we think do a nice job of offsetting the building and providing a little bit of color in all seasons, and some additional foundation plantings around the building. You can also see that there's a large tree to be kept sort of in the center island of the site, and then a pretty heavy existing wood line that surrounds the parcel. Property lines all the way out here, so you can see how much of the parcel is actually wooded. And a lot of existing grass that would remain and be added to as part of what we're proposing to do here. Sure, a lot of people are familiar with the site. It's not the prettiest looking site today. Another part of this proposal is to remove a significant amount of metal fencing, chain link fencing, most of it with barbed wire on the top of it. In fact, our proposal contemplates removing 450 linear feet of metal fencing from the site. So we're losing a half acre of asphalt, and we're losing close to 500 feet of metal fencing from the site, and then gaining some gravel area and a lot of grass as part of that, in addition to a planned renovation of the building where we would re-side the building with wood siding, cover up some of the existing brick, which is sort of fake brick, keep the metal roof in place, and our new proposal does contemplate putting a small fenced-in yard, a wooden fence yard at the rear of the building, which would serve to enclose our dumpster, and it would serve as a place to put anything large that's delivered to our office. The way we run our business is we have a lot of things that we use in our projects delivered directly to our office, and then we check them in and dispatch them to the field. Things like expensive bathtubs that once the driver leaves, you can't return. Things like tile, where if you don't say something about it when it comes in from overseas, you own it, and if it's broken, it's broken. So we tend to bring these things to our office so that we can get eyes on them. As good as our guys are in the field, they're not always in the best position in a rainstorm or something like that to open these things up and inspect them properly. These things stay on our site for a few hours, a few days, and then they get dispatched to the job sites with our own vehicles.
And where will they go, Darren, when they're brought to the site without the addition?
They would stay in the fenced-in yard, or we bring them inside, or get them right in trucks or the van or something like that.
So weather wouldn't be a problem for those two?
Not necessarily. I mean, the yard is also, this contemplates where we would keep, our recycling cans and our dumpster and other things like that. Things appear and disappear and disappear all the time. First aid kits and things come back.
I'd like to make a suggestion. Where you have the fenced-in area, you have grass between that and the driveway and the roadway.
Yeah.
My recommendation would be put roadway material all the way into the fenced-in area, because you're going to have dump trucks or garbage trucks in there. They're going to chew up that grass and make more of a mess than it's worth.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just
I think it's just an
something to
oversight,
think
and
about.
I think we got a little heavy-handed with the green in that area.
Oh, it's
But,
great idea.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah, for sure. And it is the kind of dumpster that would need to be rolled out.
Yeah.
It's just on 4 wheels, so it's not a very large dumpster. Mainly, we just have a lot of packing materials and things that we generate in an office that go into it. There are parking spaces shown per the code requirements. There's 2 handicap spaces and 10 striped spaces shown here. The code only requires 6, so the site's a little bit over-parked in its current configuration as well. But as far as we can tell, we're meeting all requirements other than what's required for the sign at this point.
And that includes employee parking?
That does.
How many employees in the building on a daily basis?
That's a good question. Typically 3 or 4.
Is there any intent to store more basic construction material on site, such as lumber, things of that sort?
Not for any long period of time. I mean, occasionally certain things get delivered, but they're usually taken right out to the field. We're not in the business of keeping things. I've spent a lot of money over the years moving things that we thought we would use again. And, so we try to return as much as possible, as quickly as possible if it's excess. So there's not an intent to have any kind of contractor yard here.
Who did the site visit?
Melody and Emma did.
How did Melody and Mike report on their site visit? Thanks.
The site plan, as you can see, has changed quite a bit since we saw it first. Melody and I were there. We inspected the building inside and out and walked around the property. As you can see, the lot is pretty deep, and it goes beyond the tree line at the back of the lot. When we were there, there was a shipping container under the large tree. Is that gone now?
No, it's still there.
And that is temporary,
It's temporary.
right? Okay, we had a number of discussions. We questioned the need for 2 entrances from Route 9 on this relatively small parcel. And we were told that the applicant would like to keep both of them. First, because there would be some shipments by things like tractor trailers, and without the circular drive, there would be no way for that kind of a vehicle to turn around. And secondly, the comment was made that cuts to Route 9 are hard to acquire and add value to the property, and they are reluctant to give one of them up. It seemed to us that if there are going to be 2 cuts, that the driveway should be a one-way drive with one cut to the entrance, the other the exit. We talked quite a bit about the addition, which is now irrelevant because there is not going to be one. I'm very happy to see that large area of gravel to become turf. I think that's a big improvement. And let's see, there was some discussion about a second future use on the property. And as I remember, there are no specific plans, but it was mentioned that a second structure would be located to the south of the existing building, obviously, and would be set back further from the road, and would likely be kind of a long, narrow building to take advantage of the shape of the lot. Melody, do you have anything to add to that?
No,
What is your thinking about making it a one-way in, one-way out? Similar to what Williams has, they have the 2 curb cuts also, and that's how they do it. Obviously, they have large trucks going in there, customers, things like that.
I don't think it's an issue. This would be the logical end point here.
Yeah.
Or, maybe this might be better than saying one way in, one way out. It might be better to say exit only and then have this be both directions, because I think tractor trailers would tend to be the main ones to use that entrance, at least right now. And then it would likely be something we'd have to revisit with development of the site, whatever that might be, whenever that might be.
It does seem that it would be from a safety standpoint, not having people coming in and out both,
Yeah.
you could avoid potential.
Yeah, I don't think there's any issue with that. I'd prefer to keep this as, bi-directional, just because, this is the logical place for us to use on a daily basis. And then larger trucks would be the ones mainly using that kind of thing.
Other
Just for
questions?
convenience sake.
Other questions from the planning board?
The driveway in the back looks to be quite a bit wider. Is that for turning radius of vehicles? Or
It's
is
a
there-
turning radius, yeah. So it's actually a lot wider right now. I mean, this is all asphalt right now.
Right.
So, Jordan's played around with the turning radius, and that's what he came up with. I mean, we'll tighten it up the best we can to make it still functional. It's gravel after all, so, we can keep it fairly managed. It's a little less consequential if the truck kind of pushes some gravel.
Do we have a report from the CAB?
No related issues for us.
Members of the public, anyone, any comment on this? Any further questions or comments? Jim, any comments? Could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Very good. I have a draft approval resolution. Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows: an application by Darren Davidovich for site plan approval and a sign permit under Town Code Chapter 125, 12572, 12527, respectively, creation and modification of existing structure at 6822 Route 9 within the CBS Commercial Business South zoning district. And before I go any further, I think for the sign, oh, there you are.
Sorry.
You need a variance, correct?
We do.
So I'm going to just add into that, any approval of the sign will, of course, be contingent upon getting variance from the zoning board of appeals. Reaffirms proposed action as type 2 under seeker for which coordinated environmental quality review is precluded, based upon review of submitted information, including reports from planning board members and CAB members on their site visit to project property, finds proposed work is consistent with the objectives stated in Chapter 125. With respect to the sign permit, finds that the proposed signage meets the requirements, hopefully meets the requirements of section 12537, and approves the sign application subject to site plan approval and a variance grant by the zoning board of appeals.
Do we need anything on the fence?
I think that's part of your site plan.
It is,
And
so
if it's
that
part of the
is a-
site plan, that will be approved as part of the site plan. With respect to the application for site plan approval, finds the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with Town Code Chapter 125, Section 12575, and approves the application inclusive of the application materials and plans by Synergy Energy dated November 14th, 2019. Is this an updated?
January 30th.
January 30th. January 30th, 2020. Okay. And B, authorizes the planning board chair to stamp and sign the above cited site plan upon the applicant's satisfaction of the below conditions. Submission of the above cited site plan in form and number specified in Town Code 125, Section 12578B, except as being modified to a lesser extent by the chair in consideration of filing and distribution requirements. Payment of any outstanding fees and reimbursement amounts due the town of Rhinebeck related to the review and processing of applications subject to this resolution, and receipt of all approvals, authorizations, or certifications required herein, or from any other town, county, state, or other agency as required to undertake the proposed actions. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second. I will poll the board. Elise?
Yes.
Edna?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Melody? Kathy? Woody?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So as soon as you get the variance as far as the sign, if for some reason that doesn't come through, but you need to move more quickly on the site plan, if you submit a site plan possibly without the sign on it, we can work with that and then work on the sign approval once the variance is approved.
But you can't sign until the sign has a variance, if the sign's on the plan, correct?
For this resolution, yeah.
Just-
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, our next item is really more for the planning board. Rhinebeck Villas LLC has asked to have their next presentation for the planning board continued to another date, I think. Do we have a date for that, Gretchen?
February 25th at 7:05.
Okay. Could I have a motion to continue the public hearing on Rhinebeck Villas LLC to February 25th at 7:05?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Very good.
Michael,
Yes.
a question on that?
Yes.
At one of the previous meetings, the whole planning board was going
Right,
to do
yeah,
a site
that's
visit
our-
and a workshop.
Right, that's our next situation, to try and schedule the site visit to the site. And we were trying to come up with a few dates today when we thought might work. And of course, I did not write them down. Oh, good, Melody did.
We were suggesting, we spoke to Mark and suggesting 10 o'clock on February 12th, that's a week from Wednesday.
10 a.m., Feb. 12th?
Well, we're polling the board right now.
You have to see how many can make that, if that's convenient.
The time? 10 o'clock.
10 a.m.?
I think I can make it.
I think it's okay for me.
Mark is available. Kathy, Woody, would that work for you?
I'm not sure, but don't plan on, I should be able to.
Okay.
Talking March 12th,
No, no.
or February 12th, I'm sorry.
At 10
February
a.m.
12th at 10 a.m. Meeting at the property. Sounds like it's okay.
Does that work for you?
I'll do my best, yeah.
Okay.
Should be okay.
And if necessary with Mark, we can schedule another site visit for people who can't make this one. Mark's always happy to do that, because will just get us going. So, with that in mind, can I hear a motion to schedule a site visit for the planning board to Rhinebeck Villas LLC on February 12th at 10 a.m.?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Very good. And you'll convey this to the CAB?
I will indeed.
Very good.
Where will the meeting place be?
We will meet at, always meet for pizza? No, yeah.
Well, let's check with Mark
We'll check with Mark.
and send an email out.
So I don't know where the park.
I
That's
don't know where parking is available.
Yeah.
There's no prevailing pizza place.
Yeah, I don't know when they open, so they may not be open until lunch.
We'll leave it up to them.
Okay. All right, our next public hearing, let me stop, 113 Montgomery Street, site plan, single family, on town and village property, not here. Well, okay. Yeah. All right, well, we have some time before our final public hearing, so perhaps we shall refer to our other zoning board referral. This was with Captain Whitman. Well, do you want to wait and see if he shows up?
Sure.
I mean,
We can come back to
Just
it.
make sure you're
Yeah.
back.
come back to it. Okay.
She, do you have a telephone number?
Okay, Captain Whitman. Yeah, oh, we're gonna, that's just so everyone knows, we're looking at the referral from the ZBA for the variance that you're asking for. And I think I thought I had, do I have? Yes, I do, okay. All right, what we're looking for here is a variance for Alderman Brook to reduce the existing 60-foot front yard setback at the house to 56.1 feet, a 93.5-foot variance from the required 150-foot setback required in the district, recognizing that the existing structure currently has a 60-foot setback. So from that, we're talking about a 3.5-foot setback from what exists, as well as the 93.5-foot variance from the 150-foot that would be required if there was not an existing structure there. Any comments or thoughts on this?
What is it needed?
I believe that there is going to be a small entrance structure placed on the front of the house. I'm getting an approval nod from the applicant, so yes.
Site plan.
No, we're going to be, we're reading this for site plan a little bit, but,
Here.
The encroachment on the front here.
yeah, that little bit of a,
It's 3.5 foot.
any thoughts or comments on
Is
the,
it better to wait on this for the presentation?
well, we could do that. Catherine, we'll wait till after your presentation of the whole structure, so we may, through the process of discussion, whether there may be some modifications to the structure that we might all decide might be nice, and we might want to, rather than approve the variance, then, I'm actually going to approve it, but we could write to refer. Thanks. All right, I think I'm sure on someone's clock at 7 o'clock. Okay. Final public hearing, Michael DeCola, Bloomer Hollow LLC. And before we get started, a couple of things I want to let everyone know. We did receive a determination letter from the zoning enforcement officer today. She was working with the town attorney. And basically, her determination is that section 12548 does not apply in this case. It's the amended solar screening requirement for rooftop solar installations has been modified by the town board to not be required in instances unless it's on a historic structure, unless it extends above the roof for a slanted roof, or is higher than a certain level on a flat roof. Our attorney has, all the things have been submitted to us by members of the public as well as some members of the planning board. He has asked us to continue this public hearing until the 25th of February so we can review it, look at it. There's a state regulation that also applies to this that he also wants to have a chance to look at. So we're going to be continuing this public hearing until the 25th. We have received all sorts of comment. All of that is going to our attorney for him to review and get back to us. If anyone has anything they wish to say tonight that hadn't said in the past, they're certainly more than welcome to. We will be continuing this on the 25th, at which point we will have our attorney's recommendation for how we want to proceed. So, I don't know if the planning board has any questions they want to raise at this point. Hearing none, if the public has anything they wish to ask about?
So for clarification, please, that screening would be required?
According to the zoning enforcement officers, no, it would not be.
No, okay, great, thank you.
Is there anything new anyone else wishes to say tonight? Yes.
Just a quick question, Michael. How in any way can the LWRPD apply to this issue, especially policy 24A to the C? I don't know if you or the CAB rep here would like to comment.
What I will do is, we don't have comment at this point, but I can refer those also to John for him to review as well. He goes over these other things. He's going to, everything that's been submitted to us, including the things we just received in the last few days, is going to go to John. And he's just asking me if we could put this off for 2 weeks, because he just got it. And we just got the determination at 5 o'clock tonight, so no one, I think a lot of people here haven't seen it yet. So he would like some time to review it and then get back to us. Okay. Could I hear a motion to continue this public hearing to February 25th at, first question?
She went downstairs to try and reach them instead.
Okay. At a time that Gretchen will tell us what it's,
I think she was saying.
7 o'clock, 7:05?
She might have written it down.
Okay, oh, good. She does write these things down. Yes, sir.
The zoning enforcement officers correspondence,
Yes.
I would recommend we send out to all members.
Yes, all right, absolutely.
So,
7:10? Okay, continue February 25th at 7:10. Could I hear a motion to that effect? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Very good. Everything that we've received is also in the file, if anyone wishes to review it from other sources, as well as, of course, the determination by the zoning enforcement officer is also available. And the work that our attorney will be doing will also be available to review too once we receive it. It'll be part of the record. Okay. Moving right along, I think. Well, why don't we move on to our next application and then just hear from Gretchen Button-Holder. Okay. Keith, Ingmar, and Christina Alvo at 2875 Route 9G, site plan and special use permit, ground-mounted solar.
Hello, nice to see you all again. Lisa Springstead, I work from Common, I'm a residential project manager. Would you happen to have the topographical map? Let's start with that one.
that's what
Okay, we go. Sure, we'll stay with this one. Okay, so this is for a 14 kW ground mount solar array, 2875 Route 9G. This is for residential use only, so if you ever see me up here, it's always going to be for residential projects. None of this electricity is going to be sold to the neighborhood, residential only, just to say that up front. So I'd just like to start by saying that it's a little difficult to describe this property from these satellite photos, and that I'm sure you'll see from your site visit that the array is actually adequately shielded from roadway traffic due to the topography of the land. So I guess we'll just, so you can see here that the array is at that elevation of 362 feet, and the roadway is roughly between 370 and 374. So the array is lower than the roadway. Would you mind jumping back to the site now? Sorry, I just wanted you to see the topography first. Yeah. Okay. So as you're entering the driveway here, the driveway is a level, squared off part of the parcel, and then the land dips down, and the array is back here, like I said, lower than the roadway. This is a lot of pre-existing screening, woods that consist of a mix of deciduous and hardwood trees. The Ingmeyers have planted, I believe, are cedar trees here that also screen the array from the view of the roadway. And I'm sorry it's difficult to tell, but I'm looking forward to you guys taking this site visit so you can see exactly what's going on here. That it is not visible from the roadway as it's currently proposed. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, yes.
Yep.
Any questions from members of the board?
The array is meant to serve the needs of a single-family house, correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
will it meet all of the needs, or close to all of the needs?
Yeah. It's not allowed to exceed 110% of the historical usage.
Then will there be battery backup?
No batteries in this project.
Other questions or comments from members of the planning board?
There's some discussion about trimming a tree or trees as part of this. It wasn't marked on there. I mean, if we can just put a little note on that to make sure that it's clear.
Yeah, there's like a half chopped down tree right here. It's, I don't know, 10 or 12 feet tall with all the limbs cut off. It's just like a big stump. So you want me to detail that?
Can we just mark that?
Mark it out? Yeah.
Just in case, because it was in the application. I just want to make sure it references back to something that's important.
Yeah, sure.
Let's reference the cross reference. Something.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I have a procedural resolution. Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows in the application by Keith Ingmar and Christina Albo for, hopefully it was right, for site plan and special use permit under Town Code Chapter 125, 12547, and Section 12572, and Section 12565, respectively for installation of ground-mounted solar array at 2875 Route 9G within the RC5 zoning district. Accepts the application and supporting documents as adequate for initiating review by the planning board, advisors, and the public. Classifies the proposed action as type 2 under seeker, for which coordinated environmental quality review is precluded. We schedule a public hearing on the application for
March 2nd.
March 2nd,
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. And direct clerk to undertake or otherwise cause the noticing, posting thereof in accordance with the requirements set forth under Town Code Chapter 125, Section 12547, and 12565. Delegates planning board members who would like to go with
I
me?
will go.
Edna and myself. Always have to see other solar array. To conduct a field visit on the project site and report their observations at the time of public hearing. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 9, Conservation Advisory Board, we refer the application to the Conservation Advisory Board for review and written comment concerning the environmental factors. In accordance with Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, we refer the application to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for review. And we authorize without prejudice to any information or comment that may be presented at the public hearing and may arise based on both the above cited field visits and referrals. Preparation of a working draft of approved resolution for the planning board's consideration on March 2nd, or as may be later timed. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. We'll get in touch with you to set the same thing.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, right, quickly back to Henry Stout, he forgot. So, we are continuing the public hearing to February 25th at 6:40. Could I have a motion to that effect?
No, March 2nd.
Oh, March 2nd, I'm sorry, at 6:40. Thank God you're here. March 2nd at 6:40. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Very good. Did everyone, wait a minute.
The applicant forgot.
Yeah, you
Is that what I
forgot.
heard you say?
Yeah. So, are you surprised? No. Could I, all in favor, please say aye. Thank you.
Aye.
I thought it was tomorrow.
Yeah, that was tomorrow. Okay, Catherine Whitman, 16 Old Post Road, site plan renovation.
Which file would you like?
Should I bring my signature up here, or should I also have a hard copy?
We can put it up there.
Okay.
There's a laser pointer there if you want to use that.
Okay.
Just tell me which file you'd like. A little bit of this actually. Which file would you like to use?
Sorry, the site plan. So this is the house and the garage, and it's located on 16 Old Post Road, which is just past Mount Ruxton Road. It's needs a site plan review because this is a scenic drive. There's a number of other factors that are all adjacent, but nothing really impacting the property. It's close to an agricultural use, which is the Dowden property. It's on the border of the local waterfront revitalization area and the Hudson River Heritage National Historic Landmarks District. And there's a 100-year floodplain on the southwest corner of the site. Wetlands are not 100 feet, but not within 100 feet of the structure or the proposed work. So if you go to the next pages, this is the site plan showing a small addition here and also on top of the ranch property. That addition is encroaching on an already non-complying front yard setback. So that's going before the ZBA. And then the next page should illustrate more what. So this is the existing ranch, and it comes out on both sides of the new structure that goes in front, up and over it to add a bedroom upstairs. And an entry, sort of an entry area. This is the back. Right now, the back of the house does extend this far, but it's just a cross gable into the ranch, so it's going up and becoming a slightly sloped roof. You can see that here. Any questions?
Planning board members, anyone want to have a question or comment or? I remember one that we discussed at the pre-submission meeting, was basically, given where it's located on a scenic road and whatnot, and the small size of the property and whatnot, we were thinking, would it be more attractive if the design of the addition was more in keeping with the actual existing characteristics of the existing house?
Okay.
And I remember we discussed that with you, and I guess you were to think about it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I believe I have a photo here of it. Not sure. I think you had one on this, oh, here it is. Okay, so it's a pretty nondescript ranch. The windows on each side of the front door have nothing to do with each other. They both look like one or the other might have been changed over time. And it's got, in this small structure, it has 2 bedrooms, which are by today's standards way too small. So we needed to move one of the bedrooms upstairs, so we could either do the whole structure 2-story and keep more or less the ranch look, but it would turn into more of a colonial if we did that, and rather than do that, it seemed just to do a partial 2-story would be more interesting.
any other questions at this point in time?
Well, I think Old Post Road has an interesting collection of houses. None of them- There's no feed that goes through there, so I don't know if it's a problem for this one.
Anything else? Okay, I have a procedural resolution. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the application by Captain Whitman for site plan approval under Town Code Chapter 125 for renovation and in addition to an existing residence at 16 Old Post Road within the RA10 zoning district. We accept the application and supporting documents as out of preliminary review by the Planning Board as advised to the public. It is classified as type 2 under seeker, which coordinated environmental prior review is precluded, and we will schedule a public hearing for
March 2nd at 7:05.
7:05 for the public hearing. Delegate planning board members, I know Kathy wanted to go and Melody to conduct the field visit. I'm sure you'll coordinate with them. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 9, Conservation Advisory Board will refer to the application of the Conservation Advisory Board for review and written comment concerning environmental factors. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 118, Waterfront Consistency Review, we refer the application to the Waterfront Advisory Committee for review and written comment concerning consistency with the LWRP. In accordance with the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, we refer the application to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development. And we authorize without prejudice to any information or comment that may be presented at the public hearing or may arise based on both the above cited field visit and referrals, preparation of the working draft of an approvals resolution for consideration on March 2nd, or as may be later timed. Can I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Very good. Melody and Kathy, who's not with us at the moment. We'll be the ones coordinating, so I'll get in touch with you, I'll take it to site visit.
Okay, for the referral from the ZBA, do I wait for that?
Well, I think that since you want to go with this, we'll do that right now,
Okay.
okay? And I think I have a resolution on here. Somewhere in here, I have a resolution for that. And if anyone on the planning board wishes to amend this, please, feel free. Okay. The town of Rhinebeck Planning Board, upon referral by the ZBA and an application by Captain Whitney for a front yard variance setback of 93.5 feet. One, finds the requested variance raises no significant planning or environmental concerns, in particular due to the fact that the existing structure is already well into the required setback area, and the additional 3.5 feet of encroachment into the existing front yard does not in itself seem to create a discernible difference from the existing encroachment. We note that while the 3.5 foot encroachment itself is not viewed as a significant concern, the proposed design and massing are of a notable concern given the location along the scenic road and may be discussed during site plan review. We recommend that the ZBA rely upon its own study of the facts in deciding the application in accordance with the criteria and procedures set forth in Town Code Chapter 125, Attachment 3, Section 125-27-A-3, including consideration of the input of neighboring property owners. Could I hear a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That will be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. My next procedural is William Satorovich Drive, Captain Hook Road, minor subdivision.
Yeah, hi. I'm Deborah Hayes, I'm the real estate agent who's been working with Mr. Satirovich on selling the lot. And last summer, we were in with Christine and Roger Shafransky, and they were interested in purchasing it and possibly subdividing it into 2 lots. And at that time, we looked at the existing survey map, and everything was looking good. So what we did was, Marie Welch had us contact Joe Berger, the engineer, to see about doing a feasibility study. He had previously done a study on the front part of the lot, and we wanted to see if the back part of the lot could also support a septic system. So when we contacted Joe Berger, he sent back drawings and supporting documentation. And is there another copy of the survey? There is. There should be, that's part of Joe Berger's packet.
Digital file
So the survey that basically Joe Berger had a septic system in the front here, and we had discussed like putting another one back here, and his drawing had the lot line basically, it wasn't across like this. I mean, so what happened basically when we went back to the original surveyor, she redrew the map. So now we have 2 different surveys that make it a little confusing. So I think what we just really need to find out is if the original survey that we had submitted is acceptable. And Gretchen, do you know, we had made a large copy of that, and I had submitted it originally, and then Marie Welch submitted something different.
Right.
Do you have?
So Marie's, which application, I was assuming, they got all of Marie's application that she sent out the site plans.
Yeah, because the original, what I originally submitted.
Which you brought in the packets, they went with everything.
It was different.
So everybody did get a packet for the Joe Berger.
So
What's the difference?
basically, Joe Berger drew it with the lot line not being straight across like this. He drew the lot line coming in more following the contours of the land and looking at Satirovich Drive as a proposed private road. And what Marie Welch, I think, was trying to do with this drawing is look at Ackert Hook Road as the road that would provide frontage for the back lot. So, you know, it's a little awkward right now, I think, because what Joe Berger had submitted had much wider frontage at the top of the cul-de-sac. And then this front 5-acre lot had all the frontage on Superior Beach Drive. So I'm a little confused too, like why she did it this way, because I think she's just, you know, looking at these points here as being the frontage and not Superior Beach Drive as a proposed private road.
I think what we need is to basically have, you know, have you and your client decide exactly what they propose to do, because it sounds like we have two different subdivision proposals.
Well, the client would like to go with what Joe Berger proposed. So,
But that's not what we received, is like the latest thing we received, so that's what we need.
well, where the Joe Berger put it back to Marie Welch to send the drawings, and she sent something different, so I'm not sure why she submitted something different, but the packet that I provided originally had Joe Berger's drawings in there, and everybody should have a copy of that, or a copy.
Well, I think the thing we have to ask is that if you, are those available digitally?
Yes,
Because if you could get those to us digitally,
I provided them to Gretchen, and I sent them on. Yeah.
Because this is what the latest thing we received, and of course we always go with the latest thing that we receive, assuming that that's what the applicant wants.
Yeah, no.
And so this is what we've been looking at, we haven't been looking at.
Do you have the packet from Joe Berger?
Right with me right now, I don't. I have what Marie sent, the latest one. I have it at home, so I'm not with me right now.
Michael, my suggestion would be, there's obviously confusion. The applicant has the opportunity to come back to us with what they want to do.
Yeah, yes.
Not maybe this or maybe that.
Well,
This
he's
A or
very
B.
clear that what he would like is what Joe Berger submitted. So the problem is, I think also going forward is just to know that what Joe Berger, like if he sells, right now it's a 27 acre lot. If he has somebody interested in buying just the 5 acres in the front, can he do that with Joe Berger's drawing as he proposed it? Does it have to have this kind of configuration on Ackerman Road? Is Soterovich Drive as a private drive acceptable, a proposed, you know, private road? So, you know, the questions I think are more have to do with, is this up to the town's requirement for what a private road should be?
Well, I agree with Woody, I am now totally confused.
Yeah,
I think we needed another pre-app meeting with the proper materials.
Or we can reschedule to have a presentation with the Joe Berger materials, because I know that the Jim has reviewed this, he hasn't reviewed, because that's not what he was given to review as the latest material. And I think there is a good bit of confusion here. I mean, the lines seem to be different, there are a number of different things here. And we need to look up who that and really look into it closely about road frontage, things like that. Are you going to do a flag lot? I think there was a flag lot suggested at one point.
Well, that's the applicant's responsibility
Yes,
to
it
come
is.
to us with what they propose. And their designer or their surveyor is the person that's going to say it meets the criteria of the town zoning.
And exactly what it's going to see.
Not
The road
maybe,
frontage is
kind of, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he's very sure. I think like what happened is just Marie Welch wasn't at the original meeting with us over the summer. So she was not clear on what it needed to look like.
Well, when do we have a agenda opening to which we could schedule? Realistically speaking.
For the agenda or for another pre-conference?
Well, I think that we did the pre-conference. I think if you have a full package of what you want, I think we could then do this again, but with the Joe Berger, whatever that is, before the planning board.
Yeah, because we have to do the signs on parcels.
Yeah, and there are others,
Precisely, not maybe.
and we want Jim to look at it, make sure that, you know,
Yeah, 5 and 22.
yeah. you know,
I mean, you could do it on the March 2nd one.
how are we looking on March 2nd?
There's a lot of public hearings, there's no new business.
But no new business? We could tack this on at the very end, because that's what we tacked on.
Any public hearing, no.
So it's about, midnight. Okay. How about our first April meeting?
April 6th.
April 6th? Okay, what time would work?
I haven't read that part yet.
After, we'll shut off the night off.
You went to 6:45.
6:45? Okay. What we will do is we'll schedule a presentation with the selected, and just have everyone sit in one room so you know exactly what you bring. On April 2nd at 6:45.
April 6th.
April 6th.
Okay, and so basically I would just be resubmitting the same packet again, but without Marie Welch's input.
With exactly,
Well,
Your
Yeah.
already have all
package is complete.
right, with the design that you want.
correct application, we just need the new map.
We just need the new map.
We have it, we just, I don't know why she did this, I don't know why she submitted
Well,
something different.
we'll get the one you want digitally. Jim, you go over it. There are a couple of questions about, is this road frontage? There are a number of different issues that need to be looked at, depending, we want to make sure we're looking at the one that they want to use, not the one they don't want to use, because that's just a waste of everybody's time.
Yep.
So we will schedule this presentation for April 6th at 6:45. Can I hear a motion to that effect? Second? All in favor? Very good, thank you. Okay. Well, at least, we're gonna wait for that. Yeah. Okay, our next procedural is this is you, Jenny? I always get it wrong, but sorry. And this is for a minor subdivision. Okay. Lease Barrier is recusing herself from participating in the review of this application.
This application,
You get a better view from back there.
I think everybody here is familiar with Mr. Suchin's property here off of Route 308. We just did the nice barn, historic barn renovation and approval from you guys for that, maybe 6 months ago. Now, Mr. Yasuchin would like to subdivide the property and so we can sell the original house, the house in the rear of the property, being the existing, well, the original main house back here. We had a requirement of a 5-acre minimum for the subdivision. We haven't had the surveyor on the previous project, and will be in on this one, is Mike Corella from Red Hook. And he hasn't had a chance here, he's had the flu over the winter, so, he hasn't provided us meets and bounds for the exact layout of this, and that'll come on in the follow-up submission here, but it'll stay generally the same. This is the original submission. It's not the one that we sent in for this one, Jim. I don't know if you have the updated one. That's okay. I think it's the same. It's just an updated version of this that has a table here of all the bulk zoning regulations and the only you meet all the requirements that's shown on the table in what I submitted, except for, I also had the flu, so I would rush to get this in for Jerry, so he could meet the deadline for this thing, this meeting here tonight. So I originally only considered this section here as road frontage, which is 132.84 feet. Requirement here is 240 feet in this zoning district. Which we do exceed. This is Town Road, Mill Road. Jerry's mailboxes and for both residences are here off on Miller Road. So I would like to revisit that. And if we use Miller Road here as a frontage, we can meet the 240-foot requirement.
I guess.
Otherwise, I think it's a straightforward request for a subdivision, and up to whatever you guys
We
comment
have the
at.
same problem with this one as the previous one. It's almost, but it's not. And we gotta do this, we're not sure about that. I'm concerned about that.
Well, you don't have the updated submission's not on the screen that we submitted. The only thing that we're gonna add to it is the surveyor didn't get to put meets and bounds to these the new 2 property lines that are here. Besides the surveyor going and running the deed language and the meets and bounds, it's not, we're not changing anything here.
The surveyor also has to actually provide the map. One of the requirements, the main requirement.
Oh, he will. He will have to stamp a map by the surveyor, absolutely.
For us to accept an application, it has to be presented by a licensed state surveyor. And there are a couple things on here that I don't see, and then maybe maybe just because I'm back here. But the portion of the abandoned Miller Road is, I don't see that, because that actually is still town of Rhinebeck property. And I don't see that sort of marked out here, and that's maybe important. If we can show where that is on the map, the abandoned portion of Miller Road. It's no longer,
You know where that section is?
Yeah, it's right on the map.
This?
The abandoned Miller Road, it's right here. Coming down from here, down to here.
that needs to be drawn out, the portion that the town still owns. Because that's become a problem in some other situations, so that needs to be depicted, so we know where that is.
Okay, I mean, as far as I was aware on the previous maps we've done, I don't think there is a town of Rhinebeck right-of-way over that any longer.
Yes, they still own it.
They still own it?
It was a Supreme Court decision in 2009. The previous owner, that Mr. Gideon, he was told he could get that property, the town would sign it over to him. He went through a number of different steps to permit the public property to be done. And we began the process, but then decided not to complete it. So as of today, that's still owned by the town of Rhinebeck.
Okay.
So that obviously, it needs to be shown on the map. It needs to be a surveyor's map.
Okay.
Stamped and signed for us to accept the application.
We're meeting with Mike Perella tomorrow. Like I said, he's had the flu for a while, and unfortunately, we couldn't get his service here before this. But yes, we plan on having that.
But we require that before we can accept the application. That's that requirement and the deed of the existing property are the 2 items that we need as part of the initial application. So that as we then go forward with what's going to be the subdivision of the property, then after
Okay,
that.
I believe we have the deed.
You have the deed. I gave it.
The deed has been submitted, and.
So it's just the map that we're going to require.
Yep.
Stamped and signed by a surveyor, a licensed surveyor. We didn't write the law, but that's what the law
Oh,
requires.
no, we plan on getting you that, yes.
But that's what we need before we can move forward with the application.
Okay, and we will submit that.
And, show where the Rhinebeck, town of Rhinebeck property is.
Yep.
We did get the letter from
Conservancy?
the Conservancy describing the fact that certainly you can subdivide it and include it in one of the properties, you just can't build on it. But that's.
Oh, he said you can't build on this piece here, is the
Correct.
PC reference,
Part
yes.
down there,
And when Jerry has surveyor's language and has his lawyer write up the new deeds, that will all be included in it, and it'll be marked on the map.
Very good. But that's what we're going to require so we can move forward.
Okay.
And I sympathize with the flu, I know it's a bad.
Oh, that's okay, but I mean,
season.
we wanted to get here, make sure we get your initial thoughts and comments on it, so when we get it next time, it's.
That's what we really need to move forward.
Any comment on using Miller Road as the frontage there? It is the town road.
It is a town road.
It is where the mailboxes are for residences, because it is, besides maybe a fire truck or a moving truck, everybody else, it's much safer and accessible from Miller Road than using Route 308. There's not the greatest sight distance on that existing driveway. at 308, especially going out of there.
Yeah, that's a good spot right
Yeah,
there. You got an angle this way, plus you got a curve in the road.
yeah, you're in, yeah, it's not, you're, got two strikes.
It's an unusual, interesting shape.
Well,
You carve out 5 acres of land. I understand what you did,
the, well, some of the facts are, this house, Mr. Yasuchin drilled a new well for the barn, which I think is right over here. And then this house, the original house, is on the cistern well, which is up here. So that had to be all connected, because that's the water service comes from here down to the house. And in this area, you know, we needed 100-foot minimum frontage off the front of the house, and try to keep equidistance from the pool area
You
and the
did
other
what you
house.
had to do to make it work. I understand that. I'm just commenting.
If you let us go for 2.5 acres, we'll make it look more normal. Yep.
So where's the driveway going to be for the existing house? Is it going across Jerry's property with the barn on it now? Or are you going to put in a new driveway?
The D language is going to be that shared driveway.
Shared driveway access?
Yeah.
So you're going to keep the existing driveway the way it is?
Yes.
Everyone's coming out the same way?
Yeah, that'll be the D language. And it'll be that they also would have shared access over here, because fire trucks, a big moving van, or, you know, certain, you know, larger vehicles, is easier access from 308. So the D language will, you know, include both.
So you're going to take frontage off of Miller, 308 is just there because you want to wrap in cistern on the property?
Yeah.
You're not
We don't want to drill,
technically taking frontage on 308 or taking that as your front.
right, we didn't want to drill another new well on the property, because this one has always been a very good producing well.
That clarifies it.
Okay, so,
So we'll look to redo the map and resubmit.
yeah. How's your surveyor, is he helpful?
Yeah, he's coming to meet with Mr. Yasuchin tomorrow, so,
If you can let us know when you can get that to us, we can decide when to, since it's not a public hearing, we can look into the thing and see when we can schedule that. We don't have to do it tonight because it's not a public hearing, so we don't have to worry about that.
Where are the meets and bounds for the abandoned roadway that the town owns?
They're on a map the town has. They have maps of that. And they have it they're in the clerk's office.
yeah,
The survey I got when I first bought the property, none of that was listed
Well,
in
that's-
my survey.
we should mention to Mike, and he'll know how to do the research to pull up that information.
It's right in the, if you go in the town clerk's office and ask Joni to see the file, and she can show you, it has the maps, it has the foilers, it has everything.
Okay.
So it gives you the whole history of that. And I'm sure she can help you out with that.
Yep, well, I'll rely on the surveyor. This is what he does as a licensed surveyor, and I'm sure he won't have any problem with that
If
at
he
all.
does have any questions about that, that's where you get the information from.
Okay,
Because it may, you know, it's a different situation.
Sure.
okay, no, thank
There's
you for
quite a
that.
bit of history on it in there.
Yeah, I'm surprised when he did the first survey, he didn't pick that up, because you would think a licensed surveyor usually, in doing his due diligence, would pick it up, so.
Yes, we would.
Okay,
So we'll see you later.
okay. Any other questions, Jerry?
When we get scheduled
Well, it
for,
depends when you can resubmit this new map.
I'll try to get it in as quickly as possible.
Okay,
So
at that point,
their deadlines are online, right, for the meetings? So as soon as Mike can get us an updated map,
And a 2-week deadline.
we'll be,
Yes.
we'll be
Additional,
scheduled.
consider additional.
right.
25th is the 11th.
So to get on for March 11th, we have to submit it by February 25th.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more. Town Fisher minor subdivision, lot line adjustment on 595 Mill Road.
And the lease is back.
And Delise has returned to the fold.
How you doing? Good. Are you in now?
When we moved in, this was like 5 acres and this was 20-something. and to get the clearance of the well and the septic was divided to about over 10 acres. And we just made basically a little mistake here. The electrical service was here, and it's just a little too close to the house. I mean, it was complying, but in the context of the whole area. We thought just get it over with and do it right, so we moved from this line to this line. I'm proposing.
And so the proposed line is the lighter hash line?
No, the heavy.
Oh, the heavy, okay. Now, what, each lot is 10 acres at the moment?
No, more over 10. This one is 14.2, and the other one would be 12 something.
Okay, so they still maintain a minimum of 10 acres each.
Yes.
Very good. Any questions from members of the planning board?
The only question I have, since we're looking at a lot line, and I actually got better history on when we walked in the door tonight, is if there's any reason to adjust the line to keep that old foundation on one parcel instead of splitting it. I don't know that there is. I guess based on the history, there may not be, but that was my only thought. If there's a reason to do that, I don't know. Probably not.
It's not really, I mean, it's
I don't
sort
know
of
if it's,
overgrown.
I don't know if it's historical. I don't think it is.
No,
Based on
it's
what I
not
heard.
historical.
It was a concrete floor for chicken coops.
Ah, okay.
And, I mean, it's not really a foundation, it's like a sidewalk.
It's a slab.
Slab.
It's all
And it's cracking, and, you know, I would like to bury it with topsoil and break it up and take it out, so.
So there's no reason to keep it on the site or worry about it. It's
Any other questions, anything? Okay, well, I have a resolution then. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the application by Tom Fisher for a lot line adjustment under Town Code Chapter 101 at 595 Mill Road within the RA10 Rural Agricultural Zoning District. We accept the application and supporting documents as adequate for initial review by the Planning Board, its advisors, and public. We classified as type 2 under seeker, which under environmental quality review is precluded, and public hearing will be on the application for
March 2nd, 6:45.
March 2nd at 6:45. And the clerk will undertake otherwise to cause the noticing and posting thereof in accordance with requirements of code under Town Code, Chapter 101. Who would like to go for a site visit?
I might as well.
Sharon?
Enthusiastic.
Who would like to join Sharon out there?
I'll go.
And you?
Keep it in the.
That'll be neighborly. Okay. We'll conduct a field visit in accordance with Town Code Chapter 9. Conservation Advisory Board refer the application to the Conservation Advisory Board for review and written comment. And in accordance with Town Code Chapter 118, Waterfront Consistency Review, refer the application to the Waterfront Advisory Committee for review and written comment. And we authorize, without prejudice to any information or comment that may be presented at public hearing and may arise based on both the above-cited field visit and referrals, preparation of a working draft of an approvals resolution for the planning board's consideration on March 2nd, or as may be later timing. Could I hear a motion to approve? Second. All in favor? Very good. Okay, Woody and Sharon will set up the site visit with you.
Okay.
And I see nothing else on the agenda. Does anyone else have anything they wish to discuss tonight?
Did you do the thing for the historical? I sent it to you.
Oh, what did I do?
ZBA.
Oh, what did I have to do? What?
Oops, it was the new law, the historical, archaeological.
What are you asking me?
It was referred, and I sent it,
Oh,
and it needed to be.
was the
You
new
sent
law that was
it?
just passed? Oh, it's, but didn't they already adopt it?
No, she's yeah, but it's for an application, it needs the review, if you guys. feel
Oh, is
like
there anything that
it's-
we need to refer to them? Oh,
Like, it's
Yeah.
being referred to us if it needs to go for
yeah.
archaeological committee for,
I
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything here that, what do you think? Oops. Thanks. We'll take that up at our next meeting. I have no idea what it is.
This shows the foundation.
Oh,
You got it?
I pulled up.
Oh,
her
the one for
determination.
Entner, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
there.
Okay, but this is the one on Violet Hill, and they want to put in a pool, I think pool house, something else, an accessory structure dwelling. And it's on Violet Hill. I think it's the old Blue Trombini house, I think. I think it is. Yeah. But they haven't, they're still waiting. Are they before us? We did a.
They are before us,
We
yeah.
still don't have an application.
They're before this event.
Okay, so we're not for anything that's before us, so we're,
They're not before us.
I don't know that we can I think that if
I
the
just know Michelle said
CEO,
here, can they review it and make a,
I would think it would have to be
To see if it
referral,
has to
like
be-
we would make a referral to the town historian or any.
Right.
oh, we have to have at least something to look at. I mean, I think that's something
I was
that,
just saying, here, can you put this before them, can they talk about this?
no, I mean,
Okay.
we could, but we don't have anything to work with. I think that, is this based on, I guess they wanted to tear the roof off and tear the siding off or something? What, how did they want to, what the heck did they want to do?
She said if you want to remove the roof replacement, you can move forward without the building permit. Next plan meetings on Monday. So the planning board can determine the meeting if the application is still being approved by the historic and archaeological committee.
You do need a building permit to do a roof on it. Energy code requirements, things like that.
I guess the question is, if we're going to refer it to the historic and archaeological committee, or is that?
I don't have a, but the last I knew, there was a chair and one person appointed to that committee. Don't know that they completed making all the appointments. I don't even know the status.
Of the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Replacing the roof?
Well, I guess,
We don't know.
we don't know.
And why are we involved? We don't know why we're involved.
Well, because we're experts on everything, we just know what we're doing.
Well, I think at this point we can't,
I don't think there's anything we
Nothing
can
we
do.
can do.
Yeah,
at this point, because we don't have an application.
yeah.
Well, just a building
Well,
permit.
And if they're saying you don't need a building permit, then there's nothing to refer, because there's no official business, no official dealing with it. Although I think you do need a building permit to do a roof now, but. But there's nothing for us to refer.
Because we don't know. I mean,
Our new member is wondering if this happens every
If there are
night.
any substantial changes to a historic building,
Right.
that would be required to be reviewed.
Right.
whether, you know,
The
when
building,
we went for a
the building department would refer it to us, and
Yes,
we'd have an application for
What
it.
building
This
is it?
isn't.
So it's like an actual referral?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Oh, so,
We don't know.
We don't know, we can't discuss it.
Um,
Well, we can make a motion.
yeah,
Make a motion, we adjourn.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
What do you say?
Very good. We stand adjourned. Thank you all.